Hi, in this video I will tell you about my old planners, and after that I will customize my new notebook for the upcoming year. I can't live without a day planner. I do love planning, because when you know perfectly well what will happen and when it will happen, you can become super productive and do even more things. Some people say that planning is boring and it kills all spontaneity in life. But for me, it is some sort of confidence in future. Maybe it is so because it is closely connected to my field of work. I mean, if I want to post good quality videos regularly on the right day, I must carefully plan everything out. Plus, I have to do several projects at a time because there are some of the projects which take more than a week, so planning truly saves me. And in general, I think that any major goal consists of some smaller steps. So when you divide a big deal into smaller steps, this big deal becomes clearer, you understand it better, you know what to do first and what after it. And most importantly, you can fit all these little steps into your schedule and get closer to your goal. But please, don't jump to a conclusion, because when I say planning, I mean my job and studying, except the private life in general. It's not like I know what exactly will happen in 5 months or what will happen in a year. No, I don't mean that. It's clear as day that we never know what can happen tomorrow, but every day, out of these little steps, we can make a decent, firm road to our goals. My way to the best and well-structured planner is pretty long. Of course, bullet journal is amazing, but agree with me that it takes time and effort to realize what you really need in your notebook. I mean, what you will really use and fill in and what you won't. That's why I decided to make this video for you. Its main idea is to make you realize that a planner must be really handy, well-structured, and show you that some things which look nice and handy, like on Instagram or Pinterest, are not really like that in reality. Before the first academic year in my university, I was so happy that I would never ever have a school diary, because it used to be an obligation to have them at school. But it was only Friday, the first studying week, when I rushed out to search for a new day planner. I found such a fantastic Korean notebook, if I'm not mistaken. This planner has monthly and fortnightly layouts, but at that time I didn't really use the monthly variant. By the way, it was the period when I used to make resin jewelry for sale, and I used to write new words and good phrases on the margins there. Also, there were a lot of blank pages for doodles, but I didn't really need them. Such a 2-week layout was super handy for me, because in the university we used to have a fortnight timetable, which means that before my eyes I got all I needed fitted into a fortnight layout. So if you have this system of even and odd weeks in your university, when you have different classes according to the number of a week, such a layout is just what you need. Plus, if you want to make your own 2-week layout notebook, you'll need quite a thin one, because my studying year took only that much from such a planner. The rest of it is blank. The one to show this particular notebook lies in its cover, although all of my next notebooks didn't really suffer after the everyday usage during the whole academic year. Before the second academic year, I didn't find a 2-week layout planner, so I bought this one. At first, I used to suffer a lot because of it, because my previous layout was extremely handy for me. As a visual learner, I needed to see this 2-week period of time, so it was the best option for me. I needed to see everything, but then I just got used to it. This planner also has monthly and weekly layouts. And that was the moment when I started to fill in a month schedule, because it was May, the period of exams, so I didn't have to write a lot of everyday tasks in my planner. All I needed was to see the general plan for a month. I had the exams in May because I used to pass all of my summer examinations prematurely because of a camp. So I always had 3 months of holidays and 2 extremely hard-working as hell weeks before them. But it was always worth it. In a nutshell, in this planner, I filled in only weekly layouts, and by the way, I used to have my own shop back then, and again, a lot of blank pages. Anyway, for the third academic year, I bought the similar planner, because it had a cute design, nice layout, and size. Not a single time I used the months at a glance layout, plus my handwriting became smaller. At that period of my life, I worked in a linguistics center and started to spend more and more time on my YouTube channel. So the day planner I began to use only for studying. When it was the fourth academic year, I got so tired of having thick planners, which had a lot of blank pages at the end of a year, so I bought such a notebook on AliExpress and made my own layout. It was perfect for studying. Pretty thin, the number of lines and classes was the same, plus there were some space for some evening plans, which was great for a fourth-year student like me. At the beginning of the year, I made a monthly layout in Microsoft Word, which was actually just a table with a picture, and also I left some space to keep repeating this template, but I didn't because eventually I didn't really need it. As you can see, I already started fitting my videos in. That year, I worked a lot as a tutor, and at the same time, I spent a lot of time by making new videos. Together with the planner from the third academic year, I started to use a notebook, which was only about my YouTube channel. Yeah, I used to write the script for my videos by hand, and I don't really know why. Also, in this planner, I also designed the wall and planned the videos about Samhain or Samhain and Yule. What's more, here I also started to make plans in the summer season, because it was in between of my studying planners. And it was crucial for me to see all my plans, even if there were just a little of them. And that was the planner where I started to write the plans for my videos for the whole year, because I wanted to make some seasonal videos. A lot of videos take long preparations, so I usually start doing the projects in advance. But at the same time, this yearly layout doesn't necessarily mean that all the plans will be completed. One more summer schedule, and it was the time for this notebook to be replaced by the same but a new moleskin one. I used it as my main planner because YouTube became a major part of my life. After the fourth year at university, I took a year off and found a job in France, and unfortunately I left my black moleskin notebook somewhere. But there was nothing super special, because I didn't really need a notebook in France like I needed it in Moscow. When I came back before the fifth academic year, I also got back to my favorite planner size, which is A6. At a stationery shop, I found this minimalistic falafel notebook. It was my first time ever when I decided to take a dotted paper notebook. It turned out to be pretty great for making layouts, and it was the first time ever I filled in every page of a notebook. I lined the notebook using some tapes, which turned out to be pretty cute and handy as well. And I chose the tapes according to every month. For instance, a start tape for December and leaves for April and May. The only disadvantage was that the tapes made the pages thicker in the spots where I stuck them on, but it wasn't really a problem for me. And I've never used a notebook that much. Although the best months are not that filled in for some reason, but usually you don't really have time for a notebook during your best month. And it's beautiful in its own way. As you can see, I made the date tables for the whole year using some of the stamps from the previous video. This planner was perfect for me when I was a fifth-year student, because every monthly layout was together with its month. There was the beginning of a month, and then were the days of these months. There also was my plan for a year, which was forgotten for a reason. And it was almost time for the next September, which is actually a new year for me. I was used to this division of time since school and university days, and even if I didn't start my career as a teacher, I am still used to this division of time into seasons, if I can say so. Sometimes I got misunderstood for this, because usually when I say a new year, I mean an academic year, which starts in September and ends in August. I think there are two reasons why it is so for me. First of all, my inner perfectionist doesn't let me start a new year in the middle of a season. Well, how else I can explain it? And secondly, I do like that there is autumn, winter, spring, and this working period ends in summer, which can also be full of work, but still for me it is a nice ending of a year. And there is a third reason, which I realized after a while. It came from my experience. YouTube has its own seasons. For instance, it can start with back-to-school topic, after it goes a lull or a quiet period, then goes Christmas, and a lull again. And I don't really like starting a new year like this. I was so pleased with falafel that I decided to buy one more, but a bigger one. Because now I'm not going to take it with me wherever I go, as now if I need a picture of a month, I keep it in my phone memory. I like the shape of this notebook more than the moleskin one, because it is wider and there is more space in the spread. I use black and colored fine liners for layouts and writing. And brush pens I like to use for headlines. And again, I start to fill in my notebook with the video plans, and this time I'm going to fill in 2 whole years. I'll try fitting in that much into this notebook. I'm going to write my duties here and also some new knowledge for my job, so I don't really want to rush out and replace this notebook as soon as possible. If you want the same yearly layout, you can make your life easier with such stamps. They don't really fit my dotted pages evenly, so my perfectionism doesn't let me use them in this particular notebook. Oh, by the way, recently I bought such markers specifically for my planners, because I don't really draw anything. The monthly layout I decided to make bigger, because the layout I did a year ago was too small for me. I tried arranging the weekdays separately from the rest of the weekdays, because these are weekends, and I'm supposed to have rest, but now all these weekends are like the working days, and I'm so displeased with it. I hope this psychological trick will help me to skip filling these days in with extra work. But further, everything becomes even more complicated. I've drawn some variants of possible monthly layouts with a pencil, because I will totally need some space for notes. But how to arrange them better, I don't know yet. It's either to make several windows for the days full of work, or making the layout of every weekday. Speaking about the materials for customizing, I had to show them in the previous video, otherwise this video would be never-ending. I don't really draw a lot, so mostly I use tapes and stickers. Apart from the AliExpress stamp pads, I have these Mr. Painter pads. The ink is metallic, but I don't really see the metallic finish. Maybe I do something wrong, but for instance it's not written that these pads are supposed for embossing, which means they don't need any heating. Anyway, the other stamp pad, I mean its color, is pretty good. I also decided to decorate the notebook with some 3D elements, because finally my notebook won't be squeezed in my bag, so the neighboring pages won't get crinkly. By the way, I liked toning with these pads, as they managed to leave this nice glossy finish. I also added a little of glitter. I glued it down with some tiny drops of super glue, because white glue is too weak. But you can use white glue to make a metallic paint if you mix it with pigments. It is perfect, especially when you want to add golden autumn magic to your creations. Actually, it turned out that for me it is quite difficult to film videos about setting up a notebook, because usually it takes the whole weekend from early morning to evening. I take all my stickers, pens, tapes, and then I sit chaotically putting the stickers on pages. I love decorating a notebook according to seasons of the year, making green spring after dark winter. It is a distinct and magic pleasure for me. I made the monthly layout and it already took a half of a planner. Which means if I want to include some useful notes and make one more year, I have to choose between them. But the pages with the earnings and the rent will totally be here. The rest of the customizing process you can check out on my Instagram, because as I said, I didn't feel really comfortable filling in the notebook and filming the whole process. I'm used to do it for pleasure and relaxing. And when the camera is on, if I like it or not, I start thinking about the words I can say in the video, or about editing, or the best angle, and it really distracts from the notebook itself. Create your own perfect planner based on what you really need inside of it, rather than being guided by pretty pictures and videos on Instagram and Pinterest. Well, I hope that this video was at least a little helpful for you. Many thanks to my sponsors for support. I love you this much. Bye.